Hey, what's up guys? So the other day I had a cedar tree that was located right here. You know, these two are outside of the guy wires, but there was one right there that was growing up underneath of those guy wires. I guess the previous owner of this land put those there to kind of mark them, because back in the day, you know, there weren't fences and houses and things out here. So when they would use the tractors out in these fields, they wanted to make sure they didn't hit those, and I guess that's why they put those cedar trees there. But now that it's developed, you know, that one was kind of getting in my guy wire, and I've got a camera right there with the solar panel on it, and it was just growing up in there all the time, and I was tired of having to trim it, so I decided to take that one out and just leave the other two that are on the outside. So I shot a few clips of me trying to push it out with the tractor. So I'm coming up on 40 hours on this New Holland Workmaster 40. We were using it a few weeks ago back when we were cleaning off that boat ramp, getting all the mud and silt and everything off the boat ramp that day, and used it for several hours that day. Also used it to install a culvert in the gravel road that goes down to the river. So it got quite a bit of use that day, and when it was at about 33, I think it was 33 or 34 hours on the meter that day, it went into its first regen cycle. So I think that's pretty good to get that far along before doing a regen. And I haven't even been using any diesel fuel additive. I've just been putting straight diesel in it from the pump with no additives. So I'm thinking about trying to start using some additives in here too, because you know they can extend the amount of time between regen cycles even more. You know, so if I get, let's say I get 50 hours between regen cycles, that would be awesome. But anyway, I'm going to turn it on here and show you. It's going to be really loud. This thing beeps loud. You can see I've got 40.3 hours on it now. And like I said, it just did its first regen a couple weeks ago. Now when it did the regen, I thought the tractor was having a malfunction at first, because what we would call the check engine light, the trouble light, came on up here and started flashing. And the tractor started vibrating and shaking, and the RPM, it's almost like it went into limp mode, really. The hydraulic function got weak, and the engine RPMs wouldn't go all the way up, you know, where I had it set to, and tractor was shaking and rumbling, and I thought, oh no, here we go. First breakdown. And then it did that for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then the regen lights down here came on. And when the regen lights came on, then the trouble light went off, and the tractor just started to really stink. You know how they do, you know, when it goes into a regen cycle and it gets so hot, you can really start to smell it burning that stuff off, and the stench got really bad. And then the power came back to normal. It stopped shaking, and the RPMs went back up, and it, you know, kind of came back to life after that. So I don't know what was up to the, you know, obviously that's not normal for it to have a trouble light before it goes into regen. So I don't know if it was just because of the very first one, something in the programming or the software kind of had a little glitch, you know, or I don't know, something happened to it. Hopefully that won't be the case each time. Maybe it's just like I said, because it was the first one, and I don't know. But anyway, that was kind of weird. And there for a few minutes, I was kind of worried about the tractor. But after it went through that regen cycle, it probably took about 5 or 10 minutes. And then it went back to, you know, like I said, it was back to normal when it was doing the regen. But then the regen took about 5 or 10 minutes, and everything's been fine ever since. So that was kind of weird, but first time experiencing a regen on this tractor. Like I said though, if I can start using some fuel additive and stretch these out to like 50 hours between regens, that won't be a big deal at all. You know, a lot of guys were talking about these compact tractors going into regen cycles like every 4 or 5 hours. And maybe some brands do. That would just be ridiculous in my opinion. You'd use way too much fuel. It would just be a waste. That would be annoying and a lot of other things. So I'm glad to see that this one is not going to do that. So anyway, I'm going to show you those clips of trying to get that cedar tree out, but I also took the brush guard off and put an extra coat of paint on it. You know, it just had that initial coat on there from the fabricator who made it for me. He threw a quick coat of black paint on there just to protect it. So I decided to clean it up and spray it New Holland blue, and I got to get that back on here today too. But anyway, enjoy the clips, and we'll talk to you guys later. Oh, and for those of you who are wondering, just real quick update on the Jeep Gladiator order. It has been built. It took a little over 3 weeks, I guess, from the time it was ordered until the time it was built. So the truck is built, and what they told me is it is now awaiting installation of additional equipment, which I'm thinking is fancy terminology for the bed liner, because I ordered the spray-in bed liner from the factory this time. So I think what they do is they build the truck and everything on the line, and then they send it over to the part of the factory called the body shop, and that's where they add special things like bed liners and stuff like that they can't really do on the assembly line. So I think that's all that's going on. It's just got to go over there and get the spray-in liner, and it's scheduled to ship to the dealer this coming week after Memorial Day is over with. I think June the 2nd was the actual date. So probably another week and the Jeep Gladiator will be at the dealership, and then we can go pick it up and start doing some cool stuff for it. I'm kind of getting a picture in my mind of how I'm going to go with this build, and it's going to be a little different direction from the way that most guys go. More of a, well, I'll save that for later. You guys will enjoy. But as always, thank you for watching, and I'm gonna go get this brush guard back on the tractor. But here's the clips of the little cedar tree that put up a big fight yesterday. Talk to you later. starting to think that this eastern red cedar is going to win. It stinks too. I'm going to start sneezing here in a minute. Yeah, this thing's got some pretty good roots on it. I mean, it's got a pretty solid trunk. I don't know how old it is, probably about 20 years. Problem is, it's getting into this guy wire right here. I'm guessing that the previous owner of this land planted these little cedar trees here to mark the guy wires so that the guys on the tractors, when they were out here doing hay, wouldn't hit them. But they put this one right here in the middle, and it's growing up underneath the guy wires, which obviously is not what you want. So I'm trying to get it out of the ground. Obviously I could have sawed it with a chainsaw, but I'm trying to get it out of the ground so that I don't have a stump sticking up here in my yard. You know what I mean? If I could get the whole tree to come up, it would be a lot better. But I'm starting to think maybe I'm gonna have to saw it. I don't know. I've tried pushing it over. I've tried pulling it out with the strap. These things have really deep tap roots, and they're a major challenge to get out of the ground. And I'm afraid I'm gonna tear up my new tractor because I could see the bottom of the bucket down there. I could see it flexing and bending just a minute ago. So I think it had all it wanted. Yeah, I think I'm just about to get it. You can see the roots are starting to come up. So I'll push it from this side, and then I'll go to the other side and push it, try to hit it from different angles and push it around. And as I'm doing that, the roots are getting loose and breaking up. So I think here in maybe a few more minutes, I'll be able to push it on out of here. Well, the roots on this tree are proving to be really tough. So I'm gonna try the strap one more time. I mean, the tree's on the ground, I just can't get the roots broken up. If I can't get it out of here with the strap, then I guess I'm gonna have to do what I should have done to start with and go get the chainsaw, but maybe I'll pull it up out of here. I'm starting to leave some tracks all over the yard. Tractor's digging in, tearing up what little bit of grass I have. So let's try this one more time with a long strap so I can get down here on the gravel, see what happens. Tell you what, the roots on this tree are just really tough. All right, fine. I thought I would try it this way and see what happened, but I'm gonna have to go get the chainsaw. The dogs are over there laughing at me. Well, the tree might have defeated me, but I got another little project I'm working on here. This is the grill guard that my buddy made for me for the tractor, and I'm taking it off and spraying it blue. He sprayed it black, which is, you know, that's fine. Give it some rust protection, but I'm gonna put another coat on it, and I'm doing it in the new Holland blue to match the tractor. So yeah, this thing is awesome though, because when you're doing a job like that where you're pushing up against a tree, limbs, a pile of brush, whatever, this thing is perfect for keeping the limbs from tearing up the grill on the tractor or going through a headlight or, you know, something like that. So I'm gonna give it a couple more coats here and try to put it back on. He made this thing out of 1/2-inch material, and it is super heavy. After I unbolted it from the tractor, it was all I could do to pick it up myself and carry it over here. He kind of overdid it, I think, you know. It's overkill, but as the old saying goes, I'd rather have more than I need than not enough, I guess. Well, the brush guard turned out pretty good. It's blue now, and the little New Holland Workmaster 40 ended up winning this battle. It took a while. I had to go back and forth. And I ended up cutting the top of it off with a chainsaw, and then I used the bucket to get down underneath the root ball and just kind of work it from both sides. Finally popped it free. You can see the roots down in there are pretty bad. I mean, I think they actually go over toward the utility pole, and this guy wire over here was shaking a little bit when I was moving it, so I think this thing has roots all the way over here too. So I was kind of glad to get that one out. Like I said, it's right here underneath these guy wires in a bad spot. I was having to trim it up every year and I was just getting sick of it. So I'm gonna leave these two because they're on the outside of the guy wires, not a big deal. But this one's gone, so now I just got to dispose of the root ball and cover this all back up and then fix my tracks in the yard, get some grass seed back out here. But another job done. Had this thing for 40 hours of use now. What, 4 months I think? And about 40 hours of use. And we've done a lot of jobs with it already. Here comes the rain, of course. Gonna get this job done just in time. Well, I might end up getting wet anyway, but that's all right.